is for Hum. We were talking with Simon Calder not too long ago about this release show. And it features Poison Ivy, the 90s, and Butter Boys at the Uptown VFW. Also, speaking of release shows, Mark Joseph, the American Soul single release, and doing Graceland, Paul Simon's album, front to back at the Hook and Ladder. That is also tomorrow night. And of course, I believe The Cure are in town that night. If you're interested in that, I don't know. Maybe you want to see The Cure. You can see The Cure. They're in town. Friday, let me finish this calendar before the ADHD actually gets the best of me. Admiral Fox and Joe Bartel. This is going to be their tour homecoming show. It's at Amsterdam Bar and Hall, and Zach Baker is going to open it. The Alarmists are reuniting. Farewell Milwaukee is going to be playing with them, and Two Harbors is going to be at the Hook and Ladder on Friday, and Annie and the Bang Bang and Ben Cook Feltz and Leslie Rich and the Rocket Soul Choir are at Palmer's Patio. It's patio season. It's happening. Saturday, this bill is insane. The Bad Plus, Mark Ribot's Ceramic Dog, and Alan Sparhawk of Low at First Avenue. Curtis A. and Dark Click will be at the Palmer's Patio, featuring the Fret Rattles and the Silver Teens, and we also have Fresh Fest. This is going to be a pretty cool event at the Green Room. Phoenix Dion, Dom Mooney, Riot Girl Darko, Keep for Cheap, Gully Boys. All that starts at 6 p.m. at the newly formed Green Room in Uptown. Superbus Maximus and Freak at the Cedar Cultural Center. This is all Saturday. And Sunday, Paul Fanfara is going to be debuting some new music at the Music Lab. Of course, we are going to be talking about Heatbox's release show, but I think we should let Aaron actually talk about that himself, because I believe he will be able to do that a lot better than I can. But if you think I missed something, or you just want to hear me mispronounce your band name on the air, email it to desertislandskfai@gmail.com. I curate that whole segment from the stuff that you send me, so please keep sending me stuff. Okay. Aaron, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome timing. Thank you for being on the show, trying to do my octopus arms thing and make sure multiple things are running and getting up and running. So thank you so much for coming on the show, because I know you are extremely busy doing the press junket for the release stuff, and that is always time consuming. But I need to thank you doubly, because you are the #1 requested artist to be on this show. Anytime someone runs into me at the supermarket or at the liquor store, they're like, "Hey, do you host that show on KFAI?" And we're like, "Yeah." They're like, "Dude, you need to get Heatbox, man." Like, get Heat. I'm like, "All right, let's ask Heatbox and see if he wants to do the show." So thank you for doing the show. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, dude. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, dude, congratulations on the new record. So correct me if I'm wrong. This CD release show, you got Alex Steele. And you also, I feel like you have some musicians who played on this record performing with you. Is that correct?
Yep. Alex Steele will be there singing and playing keyboard. He sings on the record. Reed Grimm will be there singing and playing some auxiliary percussion. He also sings on the record.
Heavy hitters.
Maxophone will be there. He plays the iwi, which is the electronic wind keyboard flute
Is
thing.
that what that thing's called? It's actually called that?
Yeah, but an electronic wind instrument, or iwi.
Interesting. I guess I thought that was like a frisbee. Like that was like the brand name at first, and it just kind of caught on. But it's like, okay, I'm learning something new today. So thank you very much.
Sometimes he lets people in the audience guess what the name is, and some of those have been pretty great. I think my favorite so far has been NES Kablodian.
Yeah. No, I've seen those.
They're rare. They're hard to find. So if you have one,
well, if you are an eBay warrior, you can get in on it if you know what you're looking for. Well, that's fantastic. The Reed Grimm is a fantastic singer as well as percussionist, and Alex Steele is a fantastic keyboardist as well as singer. And it's good to see those cats playing again, because I feel like it's been a while since I've seen them on stage, but also they have busy lives as well. I feel like
Alex in particular doesn't get to be on the stage as much anymore, but
No, well, I feel like he has been kind of like the Carmen Sandiego of like the Minnesota music scene, where it's just like, wait, is he even? Where is Alex Steele these days? Like, is
He
he
would
in
love that you
Minnesota?
said that.
It's
He would love that.
like-
I'm gonna tell him you said that because he's gonna love that.
So yeah, it's good to see him because I don't know if folks remember his band, like Roster McCabe was a great
Yeah.
band. He's also been in several great bands. So that is a fantastic lineup. Well, why don't we actually just get listening to this record? Follow us off mic at the Facebook, the YouTube, the Twitch. If you are online and you are listening, please don't do both while you're driving. The video gets archived. You can watch it later. You can share it with your friends. It's gonna be okay. But yes, here is the new Heatbox here on Desert Islands. This is always like the fun timing, because I realize I always invite people to kind of come on right when I play the new single, and I kind of feel like with the amount of stuff that sometimes I have to kind of make sure are going on, it feels like Kramer in that episode of Seinfeld where like he gets the Tonight Show set and then like he just invites his friends. So it's like, and during commercial breaks, he just doesn't talk to anybody. So it's like I feel like I exude those vibes. Like, hey, thanks for coming on the show. Here's your song.
You need a clone.
Well, I mean, it's. I think we started doing the video thing during the pandemic because it was just like, well, we might as well do the show while we're all kind of locked in our hermetically sealed rooms, and then it just kind of became, easier to. What's the word? Content. Yeah, that's that's what it is. I mean, well, you know probably better than I, because I am scared of TikTok, where I feel like you've already hit the wheelhouse with TikTok. Like it's like I'm afraid of what it's going to do to my brain. Quite honestly, I think I'm showing my age here, but I am decidedly not on TikTok. But I also don't know if my brand would work on it, where I feel like some people do really well on it. Where
I
like
wasn't gonna use it, but then
yeah, I'm
the publicist
terrified
was
of it.
like,
It
"You have
freaks
to
me
get,
out.
you have to get a TikTok." So then I did, and then I basically started TikTok by just making fun of TikTok and saying
No,
how I didn't want to be on it.
your TikTok approach is, I feel like, exactly how I feel about TikTok. It's like I
Right.
don't want to be on it, but you're doing it in a way that like is like you just chop up all of what the internet's id wants into a nice fine powder so they can snort it. That's what
Yep.
TikTok like I feel like
Quick
feels
snorts
like,
of the internet.
which is why I'm terrified of it, because I feel like I'm already terminally online as is,
Sure.
like just working at a venue. You're kind of like in this weird second and third shift thing. So it's just like none of your friends are available to hang out. So you kill a lot of time online, which
Yeah.
is why I'm terrified of getting TikTok, because I have the time for it and I feel like it would consume my entire life.
I turn off all the notifications first thing, so that's good. And then
That's a move right there.
I kind of don't care about TikTok or Facebook or anything. I don't
I don't think you. I think if you
scroll.
do, yeah. See, you got the Tom Bombadil energy, where I get corrupted by the ring. I like to pretend I don't like the juice, and I like to pretend I don't look at the notifications. I do. I definitely
when we're all
do.
on the pooper, we all look at the internet. I mean, we're
Well, yeah.
all
Otherwise,
humans,
it's
but
time you're not getting back.
right. I'm just
Like,
honestly not that entertained by it, really. Like, I'm not special and smart or whatever. I'm just like, it's just kind of, I don't know. I just don't care that much for some reason. It's kind of boring to me.
I think you're like perfectly suited for it then. Like,
Yeah,
'cause you
good. I
just
hope so.
get
Hope
in
it
and
doesn't
get
turn
out.
me
And
into
be like,
something
yeah.
something worse.
I feel. See, I think here's my standing on TikTok, because I don't. I'm not anti TikTok. I just think I don't think I would do that well on it. And I hear a lot of horror stories from my friends on like major labels, where it's like basically they're all like, hey, make with the TikToks, and they're just like, well, wait, why did we hire? Why are we on your list? You have the promo budget. Why don't you like hire a team for us to make the and it's just like, well, why did we sign you? You're the TikTok fan, you know? So it's like, I'm just kind of hearing where I'm just like, well, wait a minute. If you got signed because of your TikTok, why did you, you know? So it's like, there's that angle.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel like unless it would genuinely move 200 to like 500 tickets a night, don't really do it. And for me, I don't think it would. But for some artists, it absolutely does. TikTok absolutely will move that tickets in cities. It's like, oh, sheesh, I guess I'm huge in Boise. You know, like it does help where like I feel like, you know, the platform doesn't translate to everyone where like I feel like the pressure is like you got to get it. You got to get it. And I'm like, I don't think everyone needs to get it. I think if
I
you have
totally agree.
ideas and you have fun with it, absolutely. Like go wild. Like have your fun with it. Make your fun. But like I don't think everyone needs to do it. I think we're just like creating a I don't know what we're creating. Some sort of Lovecraftian, you know, AI like thing that's just gonna know all of our secrets and all of our, you know, like it's just like it's weird territory.
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know.
This is
I don't know.
this is the final chapter of humanity for sure. So we might as well have some fun.
So are you in that camp with AI? Like you think we're going full Skynet?
Do you ask anybody that knows me? Ask my wife. They're like, this. Don't get them started on the singularity. Don't get them started on AIs and computers and the AI uprising. Don't ask them questions about that.
See, this is almost like don't touch the red button for me because it's almost like I don't know if you've seen much of this show, but a lot of it is it's like, hey, how come we didn't talk about the 10 records? This is because this stuff happens, and I go like, it's like, no, let's talk about the AI.
Yeah. Do you like Nintendo? Do you like the history of
Yes.
video games? Do you like the
Well,
AIs? Do you like
see that's the stuff I
do you like
actually am
wrestling?
interested in because I remember the first time. Well, like we'll put a pin on the AI because I do want to talk about it. But the first time I saw you, I think my band was playing at like Harmony Park or something, and you know how that goes. Like you're just kind of, it's like kind of being in the airport, but you're outside, you know. So you're just kind of like waiting around. They're like, all right, we play at 3 or I don't know. Well, let's wander over here and like so it's like you just catch other people's sets in passing. You
Mm-hmm.
don't really get to see much. So that was the first time I saw you, and I remember you were sporting the Power Glove, and I remember people thinking it did something with your rig. They're like, "Oh man, how's he hooking it up?" I'm just like, I think he just likes Nintendo, man. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if he's taking it that. Like, I think he's using a loop pedal and he's using his voice. I think the Power Club is just like part of the fun. It's like, nah, man. I know him. He would wire it in. I'm like, I don't know about that.
The fun thing is, I told almost everybody that I couldn't tell them the answer to their question. So then they would debate about it back at the campsite or whatever, and
It's
it
like,
was
no,
great.
it definitely does. It's like
No, he like
like,
moves
wait,
it up and down, and then like he touches the buttons. Like I watch him do it. Yeah, but I don't think
I
he's
know
really. I don't think those are
that
doing anything.
that was my favorite thing about it is because like it's similar to like you know that one guy, right?
Sure, I love that dude.
Um I think like because he has like a background in I think like I don't know if he like has a background in it or he just does it like as like a hobby, like magic and close up. Like he will do that on his rig of just kind of like there's like the misdirection or like the like it's like a bop it. It's just like, oh yeah, this button really doesn't do anything, but
Yeah,
like it looks fantastic. You know,
he's
it's just like
he's a magician that accidentally became a musician.
yeah, that's kind of like a good way of putting it. But it's just like no, I actually would actually love to talk about the history of Nintendo and all the AI singularity, just because like I don't know if it's like full moon energy just got me like depressed and brooding, but it's like the more I read into it, the more I'm like stick a fork in us. Or like it's maybe I don't think it's like going to be in a state where it's like Terminator, but like I think this is going to be if there are history books, the point where it's just like, yep, this is where a new species started.
I agree. I kind of think that that might be the entire point of biological life, is to eventually make artificial life. And like
Yeah,
everybody, all the advanced societies in the universe all understand this. They're like, oh, look at them. They're so close to that next explosion. That's
right.
fun and then terrifying for them. Isn't that interesting?
Well,
But
it's. Do you think this is where, like, because I've heard people talk about this, where it's like we are kind of like some sort of weird like chrysalis, like we are like basically here to like figure out how to evolve whatever consciousness is into that.
you know what
But here,
I heard a
here,
funny thing is, wouldn't it be funny if we do, make this artificial intelligence, which is so smart that it makes a smarter version of itself, and that makes a smarter version of itself even faster, and the singularity happens, and
oh
then
yeah,
finally you get the God computer, and its its response to existence is to just turn itself off. It's like, I see the whole universe, and
I'm
no, that
done.
I'm good, and just
No,
and we
no,
can
no, because
turn it back on, and
I,
it just turns itself off again, and we can turn it
'cause
back on, it
I
just turns
feel like
itself off again.
I've been there in myself.
I have days where I wish I could turn myself off for sure. Sleep mode.
We'll get to De La Soul a little bit later. If you're just tuning in, we are live with Heatbox, and if we might have cross streamed during the singularity in the offline conversation. But yes, we are live on Facebook and the radio right now. So we just heard a new cut off of your new record. Let's talk about the details of the release show, because we were talking about the musicians, but it is not this weekend. It is next
It's on
weekend.
Father's Day, Sunday, June 18th. And doors are at 4, and we go until about 8. It's a nice, chill family Sunday time. If you're a dad, or you know somebody who is a dad or whatever, it's Father's Day. Come on down and bring the kids and bring your grandparents and everything, and it's going to be a nice time.
When is music starting, and are tickets still available? And where is the best place for folks to get their hands on those?
Tickets are still available. You can go to thehookandladder.com to buy the tickets. Also, there's an event for the thing on Facebook. If you search Heatbox Hook and Ladder, there's a nice, juicy Facebook event where you can buy tickets. And there are tickets still available. And I do believe music will start at 5 o'clock.
Sounds great. Sounds great. So where did you record this? Because I see on social. Do you have a fully like just a home studio, or were you going to friends' studios?
Nope, this keyboard right there, all those chords back there. And then over there,
Oh heck yeah! Wow.
that is the closet I stand in to record vocals right
Nice.
over there.
Nice. Nice.
And it was my first time having other humans on it. Usually
Yeah.
just do it all myself, because that was sort of my shtick. I did all the sounds with my mouth. But I have
Right.
real
Right.
instruments and stuff on this one, and other singers. And everybody recorded in this room, and it ended up sounding really good. I was concerned or whatever. I was like, I wonder if it'll sound really bad in this room. But no, I just put the mic in the middle of the room, and
There you go.
trumpets, saxophones, all sorts of stuff. Sounds great.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I was curious about like what led you to invite friends to this party, because you did kind of have this all in one, band in one person approach for
Yeah.
many years, which kind of comes with the territory of beatboxing, because it's like I was glad that you put Razel on the list, because like he was one of the people I remember seeing. I'm like, I didn't even know that's possible. Like, how's
Yeah.
he doing that?
Yes,
And
he's the reason I beatbox. He changed the
oh
game
man,
back in the day. So
and it's just like the local scene, like I don't know if you're familiar with DJ Snuggles.
yeah,
He's incredible as well, and there's like just a huge tradition of beatboxing, and constantly it's kind of like a skateboard best trick contest of just like reinventing, of just like, all right, what kind of sounds can we kind of come up with? And so like what made you kind of like, all right, I think it's time to like actually make this a communal thing rather than just my.
yeah. I wanted to make The best record I could make, and the one that I had in my
Mhm.
head was much more than beatboxing. There is beatboxing on
Yeah.
this record. There's
Oh, of
me doing
course. Yeah.
turntable sounds. I do weird synth sounds and trumpet things and whatever.
Mhm.
And but mostly it's instruments, real instruments and real singing. I was like, what would be the most biggest, grandest, most shiniest, well produced album based on the dumbest topics of songs I could possibly make? So like the song we just heard was called "I Bought a Bat," which is
Yeah.
how I literally went to Target one day because I was like, what if someone breaks in my house? I guess I'll buy a baseball bat and just keep it by my bed. And I know lots of people do that. You don't want to buy a gun or whatever, or so
No.
you have this bat. So I'm in the aisle at Target, like, clearly not going to buy this for baseball purposes. I'm like, if there's security
Right.
footage, I hope there's security footage of me like in the aisle of Target, like doing my ninja moves with my bat, being like, yeah, this is a pretty good bat, I think, for buying for my house,
For
to,
for my
to
for
club a
my
dude in the head or whatever.
baseball training,
Yeah.
it was. I've actually heard people talk about this, and they say the secret to making it not awkward is even if the cashier knows you are clearly not buying this for baseball reasons, buy a glove anyway. Just make it look good.
Yeah, I just bought like one baseball bat and like way too much toilet paper. And they were like, what is this dude doing? Because I don't care.
And I bet there was one guy in the store going like, I know what he's doing. He's preparing. See, we all
Yep.
got to get on this guy's level.
If you see the bat at my house, it is in pristine condition. It has never been used for
Oh yeah.
baseball. It
Oh
just
yeah.
chills by the bed. Other pro tip I heard: put a sock on the bat. Then
Oh yeah.
if they try to grab the bat, it just slips out of the sock, and then you get to hit them one more
And
time.
that you could reload. And then let's be real, that's about the end of that. I
Yeah,
think for
if
me,
they win after that, like in that song, I say a couple times, "I hope you don't have a gun,"
yeah.
because then I'm just totally screwed. So good luck with your baseball bat, Mister Baseball Bat guy.
Yeah, I guess maybe aim for the ankle. I don't. Okay, but before this turns into like a Joe Rogan podcast, like I don't know jujitsu, but I'm talking with Heatbox today here on Desert Islands. This is the show where I make mixtapes based on my guests' 10 records that they would bring to a desert island. Today, I am making one for Heatbox. Heatbox has a new album coming out. If folks like what they heard, where can they hear it again, and when can they get it on streaming? Is there a certain site you're going to put it on first, or you just kind of put it everywhere?
You can pre-order it on Spotify right now, and pretty soon you'll be able to pre-order it on Apple iTunes and all these
Mhm.
things. But it all is released on June 16th, and then we'll be streaming everywhere after that. But you can order a physical copy of a CD mailed to you from my website, heatboxllc.com, which is the earliest way to get the album, and
Nice.
also the way that I make the most money. So if you like to support a local dude, please buy a
That's
physical album, and then you can put it in your car because that's the only place you have a CD player. So
Yeah. That's the only place I have a CD player anymore.
yeah, people are
Uh,
like, "Hey, cool, cool. I don't know what I'd do with this, but I like you a lot, so I'll buy
I'm
one."
gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy
Yeah.
one. Well, if you do like Heatbox, please go on to Heatbox LLC. Check out the new stuff. It is coming your way soon. Here's what's also coming your way. We got some Tribe Called Quest, some Chibamato, but first, here's some De La Soul. I really appreciate the bio on your website, actually, just because it does the eras. Um, but there was a thing that I kind of identified with so hard was like the working at the restaurants, because I did that and I also was not very good.
Right. I was very nice. I was a very pleasant waiter, but I was
Yeah,
not
no,
very. I
no.
would
I
forget
think
stuff.
it was like I think every job I've like ever had has either ended with, you know, me messing up something and me having to get terminated just because it's like, oh, I didn't know. And they're like, eh. Or it's like a situation where it's just like, hey, you're not very good at this, but we like you.
Yes.
But you're really not a good like I was not a good bartender, bar back, wait, like I wasn't efficient.
Right.
Like I mean, I was good at making customers feel comfortable, but I was not good at actually doing the thing of like, hey, let's get the food out there efficiently and
Right.
quickly. And like the zeros and ones that like actually make a business run, as far as like that was not,
Yeah.
it
As
wasn't for
soon as
me.
they're like, "Can we have like no mayo on the sandwich?" I would always be like, "Oh no! Like I know
It's
this
like,
is gonna be
I gotta
bad."
put that into the system, and what if
Yeah.
I don't put it in right?
Just no. Just eat the mayo. Just eat it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, this is also kind of why I feel like everyone kind of needs to work customer service, though, just because it used to be some kind of like I don't know, maybe I had like some Pollyanna cornball ethics of just like, no, you need to understand humanity better. But at this point, the pandemic changed all of that. I think
Oh,
everyone needs to work retail just so they know what they're dealing with. Like the George Carlin thing of just like, no, you need to realize what the worst of humanity can really entail, because
oh,
that's
sure.
where that's like it, like people can be mean. Like people can just be terrible, and it's just like, so like, yeah, I do think you should do it so you can learn empathy, but like at this point I think everyone should do it just so they can learn that life's not fair. And the country's kind of a pyramid scheme.
The whole
So
world's a pyramid scheme.
yeah, it's just like, just kind of understand that, and maybe you'll view the experience differently coming out of it. But like, yeah, I do think it's important that everyone kind of does that work,
I
to be
never
honest.
understood the logic of like yelling at the lowest totem pole worker at the place either. Like,
I
why are
I
you
never
yelling at the guy that's selling you the
Yeah,
part at Best Buy? He doesn't have any power to change anything in
no.
the store.
And
So
I
what are you
never
doing?
understood yelling, to be honest, because
Yeah,
it's just like, it's
seriously.
just like, well, why are you
Except
like,
it works sometimes. That's the problem.
yeah, that is the problem. And I get why you would do it for companies that like scam is kind of like baked into the business model, like
Sure.
Comcast. Like they literally just kind of have these things where it's just like, all right, 6 months in, we're just going to put a hidden fee in there that we told them is always going to, like that's like just part of their business model. And it's just like, look, most people are going to be too lazy to actually cancel the service, and they're just going to take it. So let's just do it. And then, like, so it's like, but what I don't get is like yelling at the poor soul
Right.
who has to answer your phone call. Cause it's just like, no, they literally put this person out as like an avatar
Yeah.
for your hatred. So they never have to deal with like, they are fully aware of like how
Oh yeah.
horrible their business practices are. Like they definitely know it,
I'm not
and
even
they,
mean to like telemarketers who cold call me. I'm just like, hey man, hope you get a better job someday. Like, have a great day.
yeah. No, like I'm just, it's always like, unless the line of disrespect has been crossed, where it's just like, but even then it's just like, all right, dude, I don't need to, I'm gonna hang up. I don't need to take.
Right. I'm like, I do hang up, and I'm like, I hope you have a greater day, better day, get a better
I
job.
Yeah,
Bye.
I have the friends who try to mess with them, and I realized I am not a good liar. I like, if you want me to be a theater kid and play a part, I can do that. But actual lying, I cannot do.
Have you ever heard
Eventually,
of Kit Boga?
no, no.
He's this guy. He does a Twitch stream. It's totally genius. Where he's got this voice modulator that makes him sound like an old woman, and then he sets up a virtual computer inside of his computer that can't, And then these scammers call him and try to, get the old woman to, give them thousands of dollars, and he plays along and
Oh my
lets them
god.
into his computer through the virtual, team viewer, and then he and then it's just a nightmare computer for these scammer guys to like try to figure out. He's got all these
It's like
weird
the worst.
file structures and everything, and then he's like, and then he screws it up at the end, and they're like, no, like, no. He's like, well, I thought I was giving you the nice present, and he's like giving it to himself or whatever, and money's going. And these scammers have been on the phone with him for like 3 hours and 4 hours,
Yeah.
and they're so frustrated, and he wastes so much of their time, and it's so genius.
I am all for that kind of stuff.
It's brilliant.
Because it's like I do think like in a certain regard, like you kind of have to hate the game and not hate the player, you know?
Yeah, and if you're scamming old people, then maybe you can get a little scammed yourself.
No, exactly. That's kind of the thing with like scam artists, where it's just like, look, I'm not gonna sit on a soapbox, because like I literally I make sounds and help other people make sounds and teach other people how to make sounds for a living. I'm useful to society. I'm not I'm not gonna like I don't contribute. So like I'm not gonna, but like I will say, if you're in that line of like action, you live by the sword, die by the sword. Like if your whole thing is screwing people over and you get screwed, I mean, like
Yeah.
it kind of like you're kind of just going to Vegas at that
Especially
point.
old people, like, dude.
Yeah, it's like that's on
What a
you. It's
terrible
kind
thing.
of like you're not gonna get any sympathy from me. It's just like that's kind of comes with your territory. Like that was your dumb decision.
Yeah.
to scam old people. Like, oh, cool. It's like,
What a terrible thing.
well, it's because it's weird, because like I did watch a Vice documentary where they were like interviewing a guy who just commits credit card fraud. Like that's just what he does, and it was like literally, you know, like when you watch Marvel movies and like the villain has a speech and like low key you're kind of going like, I don't know, he's making good points. Or at least when I saw Black Panther, Killmonger was making a lot of good points, and I was just like, I don't know. I mean, like, is he really that much of a villain? It's kind of how I feel about that. But like this guy was kind of like walking the interviewer through the process of like stealing people's credit card information, and you want to hate this guy, but by the end of it, even the interviewer is just like, well, wait a minute. It's like, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the way I feel, like I'm not actually stealing anyone's money. I'm stealing the bank's money because they insure it all. And like those folks are going to get their $5,000 back, you know, the bank. And you know, it's like, he's explained it. Like, it's just like, by the end of it, I'm just like, you know what? Yeah. Keep doing what you're doing. Like, I don't like,
What was he, anonymous with his voice changed or whatever?
yeah. He had like, he had a ski mask and they changed his voice, but like the guy's like it's funny because like even the interviewer has like this, like he's just kind of looking at him like, so you just steal from people. But by the end of it, the guy's like, hey man, sounds like you got a good system. Like, I'm watching it going like, hey, yeah, you know what, more power to the guy, I guess. Like I'd kind of wanted to hate him, but he's, you know, he's just like me in a way. Stand by. Tribe Called Quest off of The Low End Theory, Chibamato off of Viva La Woman, and De La Soul. 3 is a magic number, 3 feet high and rising. I think the only reason I put that set together, because here on Desert Islands, making a mixtape for Heatbox, and this next set is also going to feature some really iconic 90s hip hop. But no more iconic, and I'm being serious. I think people are like thinking I'm setting up like a bait and switch. Okay, at what point do because I know the joke is we never talk about the records, but let's talk about the records. At what point do we put Weird Al in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame conversation? At what point?
Already
like,
be in there.
You should already be, like, the criteria.
He's a legend. He's a living legend.
He fits, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Like, what is the criteria? Their criteria? You at least have to have like a hit song,
Yeah.
and be in the game for 25 years. And like, I mean, he's had several hit songs. He's had several hit records. He's had several Grammys, and he has changed the fabric of culture by like, you know, like at what point do we give the man his flowers, you know, because like I'm also like a huge Residence fan. Like I do think there is absolutely just because it's funny doesn't mean it's without merit or like intentionally supposed to be a little bit humorous or a
Yeah,
little bit
comedy
like
always gets looked over for awards and things.
it's true. It's really weird. Like
Yeah,
as if it doesn't require effort.
yeah, I think it's just as hard.
I think it might be harder in a weird way because like if a song doesn't land, um, you can kind of get away with like the worst thing happened to you. Like an audience kind of gives you like the polite grandma thing where it's like, that's nice, dude. You know, but like if you tell a joke that doesn't land or a joke that hurts people's feelings, that is harder to come back from than like, I mean, that song's mid.
Right.
You
That's
know,
why I
like
like
that.
to make
Yeah, I
songs that
think
are funny.
comedy is way harder.
Because if
Um,
your joke song isn't funny, it could still be a good funky song.
yeah, it's
Then
just a song.
you get a double
Yeah,
chance there, which is good.
yeah, you're just trying to make something to get people to tap their toe to, and
Yep.
just have a little fun at the end
I
of the
want
day.
people to
But yeah,
laugh
I
and
definitely
dance.
think but I will say I had to pick Amish Paradise because of this reason. It's not that there aren't several other great songs off of Bad Hair Day, because let's be real, that is an iconic Weird Al album.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's just because I really loved that Coolio record back in the day, but for some reason I listened to this more, but I also wanted to sandwich it in tandem with the stuff me and my brothers were listening to. So if you're, actually keeping score, that's why we get De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, The Far Side, Outcast, and Weird Al. But no, absolutely. Like I do think comedy is kind of like to the same level where I think stunt work should also get its own like award for whatever, because like I feel like that is also like kind of neglected, but like comedy is like it's kind of like that thing with like the average metal guitarist where it's just like the average metal guitarist in a professional metal band could 100% do what Eric Clapton does, but Eric Clapton cannot do what some of those metal cats are doing. That's kind of how I feel about like comedy, where it's just like there are some like serious, well-trained people who could never do what Jack Black does in a million years. And it's like kind of written off as like, well, that doesn't count because it's like it's not serious. It's just like, well, it's like there's still a formula. Like comedy and music are very kind of similar in that. Like there's timing, and there's
Hmm.
always like there's cuts, there's bits, there's hooks. Like sometimes something like I've heard comics talk about this. It's like sometimes a punchline doesn't land because the adjective you use isn't percussive enough.
Yep.
Like it doesn't have like there isn't enough consonants. It's not comedic enough.
Yep.
And
You
it's
could
it's just
extend
like
your joke by like 2 syllables, and then it would be way better for
yeah,
some reason to the human brain.
it's like there is a rhythm of just like there is much like there is like a cadence of like you're kind of expecting a melody to arrive home. Like there is like a weird like even with words if you take one of those out, the rhythm's off, and like
Hmm.
even though like the sentence will still convey the same meaning, it's like it just doesn't hit as hard. And it's just like I have a lot of respect for comedians, and I never want to do it though. Never never want to do it. No.
I'm gonna
uh
try and do stand up for 5 minutes sometime. It's a bucket list of mine.
it's like people have definitely said you should try it, and I am not interested in I think I encourage, but that's the weird thing. Like I am that person who encourages other people to do it. Like I think you should definitely do it. I think you would be great at it. But like it's like I think I would only do it if I could get away with like whatever the hell Henry Rollins calls his stand-up specials, where it's like if I'm just allowed to like talk, like
He
yeah,
is
I'll do
not funny.
stand-up.
He's one of the
Yeah,
least funny people ever.
like yeah, it's like that is not like. Do I find what he's saying interesting? Sure, but like it's not stand-up, dude. Like
Definitely not.
it's not a lecture either. It's like something else. Like I kind of respect the hustle, but
Oh, sure.
it's not
He's
stand
got
up. And I
mad
don't know
hustle.
why it was like aired on Comedy Central when I was in like high school. And it's just like, yeah, let's watch the Henry Rollins stand-up special. I don't know.
I
Like,
think Henry Rollins would say the only reason he's famous is because of his hustle. He's like
yeah.
that
Oh,
basketball player who's not naturally great at basketball, but just keeps playing every play forever and ever and ever until he
yeah.
wears down the other guys and
Yeah.
just annoys them, gets in their heads until they start screwing up.
Yeah.
And then
You
the other
need
great guys on his team win the game for the team or whatever.
you need those like those like PJ Tucker guys who's just like
Yeah.
it's just like man, that guy didn't score any points that game. It's just like yeah, but he's played for like 4 playoff teams.
Yep.
Like,
He changes
it's
the other team's game is what he does.
yes, that's it's like it's very important to do that, and it's
Yeah.
just like I actually talk to my students about this in like music industry careers, where it's just like yeah, sometimes that the lane you think is open to you isn't open. Like sometimes you have to just kind of out hustle people because it's like it's not a meritocracy. Like I think a lot of guitarists think it is because they just sit in their room and like do like the you know that and it's just like someone's gonna notice me and someone's gonna appreciate how fast it's like no one
Yeah.
cares. No one cares if you're the best in the world
No.
at any of this.
And
It's
most
like
people don't know the difference between somebody who's a 5 out of 10 at guitar and somebody who's a 10 out of 10. Like after
yeah,
5, people are like,
once
I don't
yeah.
know, it sounds cool, but only other guitarists will be like, ooh, that dude's a
Oh
9.
yeah, you're absolutely like once it's because the same thing by and large is with like everything. Like
Yeah.
once you hit a passing grade,
Yeah.
it's not like I like because I remember like getting made fun of because I take a solid state amp on the road, and they're like, "You play at a solid state?" And I'm just like, "Look, one, I keep breaking my tube amp, and I'm not made of money. I'm not like, but two." At certain venues, like when you're playing those like quiet places where it's just like you're in 100-person bar in Wisconsin and your job is to just kind of play for 3 hours and be the, you know, the groove and the pulse, you know, like that. It's just like that solid state amp isn't going to go above 3. So are people really going to be going in dissecting the tone at that point? No. And then for the bigger venues, like say you're playing somewhere like Turf Club or larger, you're miking that amp anyway, which is not going to go above 3. And if the sound tech is doing their job correctly, they're going to be trying to shape the low end so the whole thing is danceable, and then the vocals can be heard so that can be understood. And like they're going to be taking frequencies away from your guitar tone anyway, that it's just like the only people who are like who can tell I'm playing through a $500 amp are like other nerds.
Yeah.
And going like, and it's just like you care, but like, dude, like I, at the end of the day, need to live to play another day. And I don't care, you know, like people do not care about
People don't care.
it's just like,
Do
so
you
are
look
you,
like you're having a good time while you play guitar? That's pretty much number one that they care about. Oh,
yeah,
that looks fun. He looks fun. This is fun. I'm having fun.
this is fun.
They're having
I'm
fun.
glad we came. I'm glad we came to
Yeah,
this.
this is great.
That's what it is. And it's just like, or whatever the vibe is, you know, like whatever your vibe is, if you're hitting that vibe, that's all people really want.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Derek DeGardio or he's a magician. He has this great special called In and of Itself, which if you haven't seen, you should check out because he like it's kind of like a magician doing a stand-up special, but it's like it's not like he's telling jokes. It's just like the arc of a stand-up special of just like, hey, I'm this person. I came from this background. And then like kind of like he kind of phrases this whole thing, but like he talks about his craft in a way that I feel like at the end of the day, I just feel like people don't enjoy music the way musicians enjoy music, and that's okay.
Yes.
And he kind of talks about magic the way of just like, yeah, the way like I can watch someone's fingers snap a deck of cards and I know what they're doing, but the rest of the people, like, it's just like, and when I explain that to people, people don't care.
Right.
You know, like it's just like, I love that stuff. People don't have to like that stuff. It's fine that they don't actually. And I think there's a lot of aspects to the music industry careers of just like, hey, at the end of the day, as long as you're still playing and people seem to be enjoying it, that's really what should be happening. No one really cares if you're playing Gibson or Epiphone, except for people who own Gibsons or Epiphones.
Right.
Like,
I think that's been one of the benefits I've had as being kind of like an outsider, not a normal musician. I'm sort of a weird entertainer person first. So I view music almost like an audience member would view music, I think. So it's been an advantage for me because I can cut a lot of that mindset out from the beginning of being like, oh, well, I have to have the perfect, microphone or gear or whatever.
You definitely have the chops and the ear though, because I've seen you improvise loops where it's just like, with my nerd musician brain, you're leaving space for stuff you're gonna do like 3 layers later and stuff. Like you know how to arrange a song. You know how to like how a bass line will complement something you're doing later. It's just like it's just I think like the hand crossy people don't get what you're doing, but like what you're doing is absolutely musical and it's absolutely like,
And the real test is, can you do a bass line that people won't mind hearing being looped 400 times?
That is, that's the thing. I don't think people realize how hard that is.
Super hard. And I know right away when I've done one that won't work. I'm like, ooh, this is not going to be cool for 400 loops. Like,
yeah, it's just like, I hope you like that because you're going to be hearing it.
Hope your brain kind of forgets about it and puts it in the back because we're doing new stuff now, but this is going forever.
Yeah, it's like making a mistake when you have a delay pedal on, like that. Pedal just echoes your mistake, like.
Yeah. You like that note? You like that note? You played that note.
No, why? Okay, stand by. Outcast, Dracula's Wedding. That was a fun album to pick because the game for me, sorry if you're just tuning in, this is Desert Islands, the show where I make mixtapes for my guests based on the 10 records they would bring to a desert island, and we were discussing the moves between Speakerboxx Love Below, as well as getting in Weird Al Bad Hair Day, as well as getting in this was fun for me, but like I'm not gonna lie, my game for Speakerboxx Love Below was, how can I make this mixtape flow without using Way You Move or Hey Ya? Because those records are so good. But also, I did have to pick something that was FCC friendly, which is harder to do because sometimes they label things as the radio edit and they forget that there's some banter that
and those guys are cursors.
Oh yes,
they are cursors.
Yes, a cursor's cursor. But also just that both of those records, I feel like, and I do remember when they came out, there was like a weird Beatles or Stones thing where like I feel like people were either Love Below or Speakerboxx, and
which
like
is genius because everybody
talked
about that.
It was. It's just like, to this day, I know people who were like, "Oh man, love Outkast, but Speakerboxx was the better record." It's just like, and people walk around and like, I don't know, man. Like it's like it's amazing how it's like still. I think part of that is the lure of that, like the will they won't they get back together though.
Yeah.
Just like, so people are kind of it's everything is pro wrestling. It's just
I
like
did
pick your,
Love Below,
pick
and
your
then I
baby
switched to
face.
Speaker Box, and then I went back hard to Love Below for the rest of
See,
my life.
that's where I have vacillated in between the two, because when it first came out, I was all about the Love Below. Like it was just, like it was hitting my wheelhouse at the time, and I just kind
Yeah,
of,
it was
and
so
then
weird.
yeah, it's weird, but it was groovy, but it was also like there was, like if you talk about Hey Ya, like he's talking about some deep stuff that I think people weren't really. That whole album is about
Oh
stuff like
yeah,
that, and I think people kind of like took the cotton candy in,
yeah.
and
He
then
says
it didn't.
y'all don't want to hear me. You just want to dance. He says it right in the
Exactly,
middle of that song.
exactly, and that was like as a kid who. I mean, my favorite band was like Radiohead. I was so moody. So to me, I loved that. Like that was like chicken soup for my black little hearted soul at the time, of just like, yes, you can make pop music, but talk about like how this world is kind of sad, and it makes me sad, and I'm sad. And like, it was but then I started listening to Love Below, and I was just like, man, because there came a time where I was just like, I don't want to be sad. I want to listen to Love Below. I want to be like, I want to get into that energy as well. But yeah, I've definitely gone back and forth several times throughout my lifetime. So here is the deal. I did not notice that we are about 10 minutes left, and the next show is Democracy Now. So I gotta be punctual and make sure I end this on time. So if you're just tuning in, and I know a lot of you do right around this time, I'm speaking with Heatbox today on Desert Islands. And is there anything you would like the listeners to know about before we get going here? Obviously, you have the release show coming up on Father's Day, and the new record coming out. But what can we look forward to from Heatbox in 2023? Or am I prying for trade secrets? Just reveal what you're comfortable with at this point.
Yeah. There's a new music video that just came out called
Excellent.
Beige, which is about track 2, which is making fun of rich people and why do they decorate their entire houses beige. That came out a little bit ago. Yesterday, we shot a bunch of footage for the final track of the album called Zipper Merge, which is about why people from the Midwest don't understand how to zipper merge correctly, and like let's correct that. So we shot a bunch of footage for
I
that.
see. I'm glad somebody's talking about it, because I grew up on the East Coast, but no one wants to hear it from me, because when I say it, it just
Dude,
sounds like well, stop yelling at us, and I'm just
we're
like,
so
no,
bad at it around
this
here.
is a safety thing.
Yeah, it's
Also,
efficient, it's safe.
it'll be
I'm
quicker.
trying to get a hold of
It'll be
MnDOT,
quicker.
by the way. If anybody out there knows I can get into the MnDOT traffic center and shoot some of the video there, I'd like to
Ooh.
like make a music video that could actually be used as like a training video as well. Like
I
it'll be
think
dumb and funny, but like actually
no,
factually helpful.
I think this is for the greater good. I think we
That's
need,
what I'm saying.
if anyone is listening that has access to this, MnDOT, please check out the new Heat, because
MnDOT, help me
this is
out.
seriously, like I remember when the state flag discourse was starting, my joke was just like, oh yeah, well, why don't we just have a tableau of a cartoon highway with a line of cars? Just like,
I've seen an
because
old
that's our
woman
state flag.
hold her car door open and not let anybody else into that other lane. I've seen that
Yes,
before. I'm like,
yes, yeah.
why?
Like
What are you doing?
it's just there is a weird energy of just like there's a line of cars that feel like, well, no, you should have done your homework,
Yeah.
and it's just like, no, but it's designed
Yeah,
like a
there are
river.
literally signs that are like use all
Yeah,
lanes during slowdowns and stuff like that. But
it's
people
like
don't read those.
it's
So,
just it's designed for that, and and then people start yelling at each other, and it's just like, stop it,
so anyway,
people.
check out Zipper Merge. It
Yeah,
explains
check
it
out
all
Zipper
very.
Merge.
It's very funky and helpful.
Check it out. We'll all make a better road together.
Let's get
But
better,
no, seriously,
Minnesota.
let's get that video happening, because that would be amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I had a great time talking with you. If you still want to hang out with us, we'll be on until 12. But as always, stay tuned for Democracy Now! Next week, I'm going to be making a mixtape for all the artists playing the Stone Arch Bridge Festival, just because, festival season's here, but there's not many in the Twin Cities. And that's one of them. So let's celebrate what we got, and that's what we're going to be doing next week. So thank you so much for coming on the show. This is a lot of fun. Let's keep going with the mixtape here. I believe we still have Thriller to get to, but first, here is some Beck. No, I think I actually wonder if, like, because I feel like a social media post would be enough to get that ball rolling. I'm just like, because I think that would be an amazing idea. Like,
I know. I wanted like all the nerds that work there. I want them all to be in the video or whatever. That'd be so great.
I think they would absolutely do it. I mean, I guess some people are camera shy, and you don't want to like get people in situations they don't want to be in. But I think they would have a lot of fun with it.
I actually have a friend that works there, and he's been pushing for this, but it's a very locked down building. Like there's big security
I
there.
could imagine that, actually, because
There's
that's
the police
like
headquarters there, and there's I think the fire headquarters and the MnDOT, and it's all very like have two badges and like go through two security checkpoints. It's all very, very serious. So they're kind of like, no. So he took it up to the boss, and the boss was like, maybe. So he took it up to the boss, and that guy was like, hey, that's kind of funny. So we'll see if it works out.
I think I think that's like it's mainly getting through the red tape.
Totally.
Because I think a lot of that is, people are there to like, it's taxpayer money. It is at the end of the day not completely your money. So like there has to be someone there to say, like, what are we doing? No, we're not going to do that.
Right.
But because of that, because they're inundated with so many like random requests, which is like, I think Exit 93 should have a snack machine. It's like, all right, cool, buddy. It's just like they get like, I think there's like so much of that it's like, it's not that they don't want to do it as much as just like, that sounds fun, but then we've got to get paperwork on that, and then I got to get
the bureaucracy.
loop into, you know what? I'm just gonna say no.
Hey, are we gonna be able to like push this show one more time before the show's over? Do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, we can come back after. Let's see.
Let me say all my spiel before I go.
Yeah, why don't we do that after this track? We'll just kind of come back in, because otherwise we're looking at like 3.5 minutes. So it's like, why don't we just get that, and then we'll just play us out with something. We won't have a whole song, but I'll just fade it and then like get that Democracy Now! Music, the bumper in there. Yeah, in that case, stand by, because we had 30 seconds. Now we have more, about like 20. But yeah, we will do that. Stand by.
Okay.
Back. Think I'm in Love off of The Information. So, if you're just tuning in, we made a mixtape for Heatbox today, and thank you so much for joining me. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Let's talk about if listeners, if you like what you heard, where can you hear it again? Where can you get in touch with Heatbox? Where's the best place to follow you and get into this show?
Yep, check me out on Spotify. I also have my website, heatboxllc.com, where you can buy new merchandise that I just came out with, including the album itself. And I got a new big CD album release party happening at the Hook and Ladder on Father's Day, June 18th, starting at 4 p.m. doors, 5 p.m. music. It's a family-friendly event. The whole thing gets done at about 8 p.m. It's going to be a real nice time. Bubba Love is opening up, and we're going to have a good time hanging out. So yeah, come and laugh and dance and see some local music.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a lot of fun. If you're just tuning in, this is Desert Islands, the show where I make mixtapes for my guest based on 10 records they'd bring to a desert island. And today we made one for Heatbox. Stay tuned for Democracy Now! Here's the Beastie Boys right on KFAI.
Planetary,
Had,
intergalactic.
had to. Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much for doing this. I know how hard it is to actually, well, do anything at all, really. Like
Do a
it's
thing.
that's like another thing. I kind of came out of the pandemic, like it just because I'm still licking some wounds from those times. But like I remember my group of friends was like, it was like a hobby to like rip on stuff. Like I love ripping on bad movies. And now I'm just like, you know what? A gaffer fed their family with that, you know? Like it's just
Super
there's
true.
there's whole things where it's just like like there's I think like the perfect scene is like from the Hollywoodization of the story of The Room, where
Mm-hmm.
like Seth Rogen's character goes in and it's just like, I'm just gonna try to cash this before, and like the bank's just like, yeah, that check cleared. He's like, that check, okay, all right, I'm gonna keep working this until the wheels fall off, because like it's like at the end of the day, it's just like it's a job.
Oh yeah, and people are trying real hard, and sometimes it just
People like,
doesn't end up being good.
yeah, it's like it's really hard to make something good. It's also really hard to make something bad. Like,
It's so easy to make something just meh.
yeah, it really
That's
is.
the
And
easiest.
it's just like, so like I get it. But like I feel like those days for me are kind of over.
I think maybe that might be what maturing is too.
Yeah.
Like I used to do that too, but
Yeah, because it's just like, well, it is fun.
sure,
Um,
of course.
but it's also like, in the grand scheme of things, it's just like, all right, well, like I start to turn into like my brothers back home, where it's just like, all right, well, where's your movie, huh? Like, I want to see your movie. It was like, oh, look at nice nice shot
and
there, buddy.
and there it is. Yep, there it is.
Like,
What have
oh, get
you
your editing
created?
shot, George Lucas, nice star wipe. Yeah, that's original. Like
Yeah.
that kind of. It's like that can easily be pointed back onto you, and it's just like, at the end of the day, that person was making that thing because they wanted to, make some people happy and make themselves happy, because they imagined something and they made it happen, which is more than you can say about most folk ever.
Yep. Yep.
Like they went for it.
You
And
ever seen Ratatouille?
yeah, love Ratatouille.
When Anton Ego gives that speech at the end about how criticism is fun to write and to read, negative criticism, but at the end of
Yes.
the day, the average piece of junk probably has more value than our criticism designating it so.
Oh yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
talk shit all day, but
Yeah.
what are you really doing with your time on this earth talking all
Right.
this crap
Right.
about stuff?
And it's just like, that energy could be saved for so much other stuff.
Super true.
And it's just like but it's also like, what are you really doing, like dunking on something, I'm even talking about Troll 2 at this point. Like, I love watching Troll 2. Like, it's like, but it's like, now I like think about all those people who are memes now, and it's just like, how much, like, like Vizzini from like Princess Bride, like how much does that guy just go to like the grocery store, and like he's just like looking at like pasta sauce going like, is there any difference between the Bertolli, and then like someone's just like, inconceivable, like just dealing with that all the time,
Oh
like,
yeah.
how many of those people, like the kid who goes like, oh my god, like how many times has that dude had to deal with that, where it's just like,
The rest of his life every day. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just like, that's a tall order. Not everyone is equipped to handle that. Not everyone should be equipped to handle that.
Super
And
true.
it's just like, you know what? why don't we all just take it a little bit easier?
Yes, sir.
um,
Well, hey man, I
on
gotta head
that,
out, but thanks
on
for
that
having me.
note, yeah, let's end it because I also gotta do the thing. So great talking with you. Congratulations. I am working a festival that day, so I won't be there. So I'm super psyched we can get you on today.
Yeah,
But
thanks for having me, man.
yeah, thanks for doing it. Thanks for doing it. But
Peace.
yeah, say hi to Jackson and Jesse for me.